Rama said, whether it is considered real or unreal, a nightmare causes sorrow while it lasts. Even so is the world appearance. By what means can we overcome it? Vasistha replied, just as the nightmare and the sorrow caused by it cease when one wakes up, the sorrow caused by the perception of the world illusion ceases when one wakes up from that illusion and consequently refrains from acquiring and clinging to the objects of the world. There isn't any technique for waking up. You simply wake up. This becomes your practice. This becomes the technique. And when you wake up, you no longer cling to the objects of the dream. Rama asked, how does one attain the object of one's happiness? Also, how does the solidity of the objects of this world dream come to an end? Vasistha replied, by examining the before and the after, the solidity of substances ceases. By the contemplation of the truth that it is even so in a dream, the belief in the grossness of these substances ceases. So this is our stumbling block. The world seems solid. When we look into this, when we examine it, whether from a spiritual perspective or whether from a scientific perspective, the substantiality of the world doesn't exist. It becomes very elusive. The physicists have a problem establishing the materiality of the world. This is what their Large Hadron Collider is about. They have a need to establish that the world is actually material, even though all the evidence points to the contrary. And this is the same problem we've got. Even if we intellectually take on board the fact that the world is not substantial, we still, in our gut, have this instinct that of course it's material, of course it's substantial. I'll just go along with this for the time being and say I don't believe it's substantial. But deep down we really do believe it's substantial. So Vasistha gives us a couple of pointers. We consider the fact that it's created in the same way that a dream is created. It's structured by our mind. The difference is we say that in the waking state, our mind creates a model which is of something real. Whereas in the dream state, it's just a lot of modelling going on without something that it's modelled on. It's just the random firing off of our sense centres in our brain. But how do we know it's only a model? What is the basis for believing it's a model? There isn't any. If the reality can never be known except through the model, how can we say that the model is anything other than the reality? And if the mind creates the model, then the mind is surely creating the reality. So these are avenues of thought that we can pursue. But Vasistha's also got this one about examining the before and the after. The words before and after are put between apostrophes. So it's not quite clear what's meant by before and after. I suppose given the context, he's talking about before this particular waking dream and after it, before this particular waking state and after it. So it could be understood that this waking state isn't continuous. Before it, we're asleep in dream, and after it, we're asleep in dream. Or we could broaden it to say that before this life, we're in death, and after it, we're in death. And given the context of the Yoga Vasistha, this is the context of birth after birth after birth. So these lives are arising within our consciousness. within consciousness, coming and going, like dreams. They are dreams. But I think there's another contemplation we can make with this before and after, to do with material objects. Watch this. Okay, the cup came and went, and obviously I was using a little video editing trick there. But watch. Here it is again. So this is before, here's the cup, and this is after. Now you would just say, I moved the cup in and off screen. Now here's the cup, here's the reality of the cup, although how real is a bunch of pixels on your computer screen is another matter. Now, where's the cup? And you'll say it's off screen, but all you've got now is a notion of the cup. What I've got is the warm sensation in my hands. The cup has become a notion. Its reality is a notion. Many of your friends right now are notions. Your family is a notion, unless you're sitting watching this with your family, which is very likely, I'm sure. So, most of our reality is notional. What is real is what is happening right here and right now. But we insist on the reality of the notions. You'll insist on the reality of the cup, which I just showed you. But its reality right now is notional. Even when I show it to you, all you're getting is some white pixels and me in a posture of holding something. And from this you surmise it's a cup. So this is what's meant by the before and after. Something comes into direct experience and then goes out of direct experience. This is what's happening all the time. And when something is not in direct experience, it's clearly notional. Even when something is in direct experience, it's usually notional as well. In fact, it's always notional. It's just that its notional nature becomes more obvious when it goes out of direct experience. So this is the sort of contemplation you can do. But I would say more than anything, be established in a sense of being. That sense of being which doesn't allow your attention to be hijacked here, there, anywhere in here. So as well as the contemplation that Vasistha recommends, be established in your sense of being.